And then you have the Pats, who also had some things go their way, right? The Brady fumble looked like a fumble, couldn't really tell where his knee was down. Steelers came away with the ball. But that said, their inability to cover Chris Hogan, the fact that it kind of exposed what that defense has been. And would you like to think, hey, the Steelers really should do something different defensively, like they should get in man-to-man? The problem is they can't cover. That's why they play zone. So here we are with the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Again, Brady going for his 5th Super Bowl win. He's already won 4, and he played poorly in one of those 2. The first loss to the Giants, he really didn't play well. I mean, they were in both times. They were in the defensive backfield at the time. And the Patriots are favorites, and the Patriots are one of those teams to which, do I think that their defense is dominant? No, but it's better than the Falcons' defense. Their offense isn't as good or as prolific as the Falcons' offense, but it's good enough. I think the line of 3 is a little bit kind. I think it might get pushed up a little bit higher to 4 or 5. But the Patriots feel like a better all-around team. The Falcons have a better offense. And maybe some of how this game is played comes down to whether or not the Falcons can get off to a hot start. Although with that passing attack, there's no reason to believe they can't come back in a hurry because they have a guy that you have to pay attention to every time he's out in a pattern in Julio Jones. The Steelers feel like they need to rework their defense. They just do. They tried changing coordinators, and whether it's Butler's schemes or their lack of personnel or whatever, like that ain't a good defense. Neither of those 2 defenses that lost are good enough. And look, the Falcons will be one of the first, I believe, or maybe the first ever, to have a defense ranked in the 20s in just about every category and win a Super Bowl. They will win in spite of, not because of their defense. You go, well, they make great turnovers. You do that, you take chances because you know you're not a very good defense. But they're built around that offense. In a similar way into which the Indianapolis Colts were built with Peyton Manning. Get a lead early, make the other team have to throw, and then you have dynamic pass rushers. And they got Dwight Freeney on one side, who just happened to play with the Indianapolis Colts back then. Actually, that's a good point, Klug. Say it out loud, not just in my ear.
I said also similar to like the Saints with Breeze when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, people forget Saints with Breeze, their Super Bowl. That defense wasn't good. That defense just got a lot of turnovers. You take a lot of chances. Like, look, when you got a guy who can make up for it. I don't know, did you guys see the stat where no team had ever scored on 6 of their first 8, scored touchdowns 6 of their first 8 possessions in championship game history? I mean, so, like, look, can he take shots at Aaron Rodgers? He didn't play great at the entire game. I actually thought he played really well in the first half. He had one bad throw on a 3rd down that didn't seem to make sense. But, dude, your defense gives up 6 touchdowns in 8 possessions. You're not winning. You have 44 points. You're not winning that game on the road. It's not happening. They're down 31-0. And, yeah, he took a shot deep when it was 17-0 at the end of the first half. He probably should. That was the throw you definitely want back. And then you're down 24-0 and a throw over the middle to Julio, and he just punks their entire team and runs down the sideline. That was game. Did you stick with it the entire game? Klug, you did it, right?
I mean, of course I did, but I'm a Falcons fan. I had to.
D-Cell, did you stick with both games the entire game?
I did, both games.
I did too. It did allow for, like, housework to be done, dinner to be served, be able to talk to people. It wasn't as pressure-filled an environment when you're surrounded by kids and you're like, hey, I'm trying to watch the game here, right?
I also didn't feel the way I felt, 4 years ago when the Falcons had a 17-0 lead at home in the NFC Championship game and they lost it. Like, I didn't feel that yesterday. This is a different team.
Well, and also you're going against that team, that San Francisco 49ers team had a dynamic defense. Right? You never felt like the Packers could get a stop. Never. Like, the Packers defense was bad. They were bad all year. Which, just so you know, kind of brings me my point about Dak that I made last week. People are going crazy about Dak playing well in the second half. He did. He didn't play well in the first half, especially the first 3 drives of the game. And that defense still stunk. Green Bay Packers defense was not good. against certain styles, they could get some pressure occasionally on the quarterback. But they should not have been able to shut down the Dallas Cowboys offense on the first 3 drives of the game. Should not have done it. That speaks to, you want to call it conservative play calling? Maybe it was conservative for a reason. But look, I thought here's if the votes were tallied at the end of the season, my vote would have been the same for league MVP. Matt Ryan had the best season. Aaron Rodgers was the MVP. Right? And Tom Brady is right in there with Aaron Rodgers as being the best overall quarterbacks. So there are 3 separate arguments. And how you vote or whatever you vote, and I don't know if it necessarily matters, but like to me, Aaron Rodgers was the entirety of the Green Bay Packers offense. They didn't have guys running free for the most part. Matt Ryan was great almost the entire year. But he also was a product of a line that was rebuilt to protect him. They gave him 2 runs. They gave him like all the different toys that you could possibly use. You know, let's go and raid the Cincinnati Bengals for their second best wide receiver and put him opposite Julio. Look how he runs free. Like he was in a really good situation and he played really, really well. But I think the Green Bay Packers story is solely dependent upon Aaron Rodgers' play more than anything else. He would be my MVP if I'm talking about true value to a team.